The atmosphere was tight when Parker Schnabel summoned his team together for a mid-season meeting. Chris, Mitch Tyson, and Dolma assembled, anticipating the customary updates. Perhaps a new shift rotation, a Dominion breakdown, or some other obstacle to overcome, but instead they received a bombshell that left everyone in the room stunned. Parker had been working quietly on something significant for weeks, and after weeks of tense negotiations, he finally revealed that he had just signed an agreement to buy not one, but 2 new mining properties. Even his closest crew members were surprised by Gold Run and Sulphur's daring action, and Season 15 hasn't been easy for Parker at all. Although Dominion Creek showed promise last season, this year's operation has been frustrating, with patches of rich ground strewn among vast swaths of lean, disappointing dirt. The crew has had to work harder than ever just to stay afloat, and halfway through the season, Parker and his team are behind schedule. Despite some improvement at Indian River, where gold production has been more steady, the strain is growing. The crew is far from reaching the goal of 10,000 ounces of season gold. According to Parker, their most recent week at the beginning of the year brought in 650 ounces between Dominion and Indian River, which is a significant amount on its own but still only a small portion of what they require. With time running out, every decision now carries a great deal of weight for leaders like Mitch and Tyson. The pressure has been constant, but Parker knew he had to make a bold move that could either save the season or drive the entire operation further into the red with his team assembled. Parker compared the situation to walking a tightrope. Parker got right to the point, explaining that a nearby claim owner had approached him weeks earlier with an offer to sell. The timing was unexpected, but Parker, who was always thinking ahead, saw an opportunity and started negotiating. Now that everything was in order, he revealed the full extent of what he had done. He had bought 3 miles of the historic Gold Run claim along with an additional mile of rich ground at Sulphur. These acquisitions gave his operation direct access to high-potential ground and a new chance to turn the season around. Additionally, Parker didn't just buy the dirt. He bought the entire company that owned the claims for a total of $2.5 million. The crew's reaction was immediate. Mitch and Tyson exchanged glances, part surprise, part concern, and they wanted to know if there was still any gold left in Gold Run after all the years it had been worked. Although Parker agreed that the ground had suffered significant damage over the years, he also noted that it had continued to produce robust flows, with reports of 10 ounces per hour. This output was too rich to ignore, but survival was more important than gold. Parker made it clear that the deal was a significant financial stretch and acknowledged that it would further strain their cash flow and business, but he didn't flinch. He said that debt is costly, but compared to the price of gold, it's manageable. He even made a joke that you can always go bankrupt to lighten the mood before reminding the crew that he thought this move would pay for itself if they could just stay on course. However, the crew expressed serious concerns about manpower, asking how they would cover 2 new sites without burning out. Parker acknowledged that the team was already overburdened, but added that the Sulphur claim came with a significant advantage, a pit that was already stripped and prepared for mining. The team could be redeployed to Sulphur with little delay because the river site was depleted and Gold Run's proximity. Parker made it clear that he wanted to see at least 1,000 ounces of gold produced this season between Gold Run and Sulphur. He stressed that this wasn't a careless move and that he wouldn't have gone through with the purchase if he didn't think they could make it work. The challenge now was pulling it out of the ground quickly, but he never joked that Parker could have just built a fence to separate their operation from the neighbor instead of dropping millions on new ground. Parker cautiously congratulated him, unsure whether to celebrate or worry. Parker summarized it himself, saying, "We'll see if it's congratulations or condolences." Later, Chris Ditch, a veteran crew member, offered his own perspective, describing the moment as bittersweet, a mix of pride in Parker's aspirations and worry about the financial strain it would cause. He laughed when he suggested that someone might need to take Parker's checkbook away before he spends the operation into oblivion, but even Chris couldn't deny the move's power in his eyes. Purchasing Gold Run was It remains to be seen if this $2.5 million risk saves the season or sinks the ship, but one thing is certain. It's the gold mining equivalent of signing with the New York Yankees, a high-stakes, high-profile move that only the bravest would undertake. The unforgiving world of gold mining is thought to be all about experience, but Parker Schnabel has spent more than 10 years demonstrating that age is no match for ambition, intelligence, and audacious decision-making. He is still in his 20s and has doubled down on his vision, expanded his empire, and placed large bets on himself and his crew. Now it's all up to the ground and the gold is waiting beneath it. This season, Yukon is setting the standard once again. When Parker took over his grandfather's mining operation in his teens, he was determined not to be just another name in the Gold Rush cast. Instead, he wanted to lead to victory and, more importantly, to create something that would last. Yukon commands a scale of production risk and responsibility that many seasoned miners wouldn't dare touch. While some might be okay with modest gains and prudent plays, that urge has only gotten stronger with each season. Because he is building a legacy rather than just looking for gold, Parker consistently sets high goals. Parker is distinguished not only by his unparalleled work ethic but also by his wide-ranging outlook. Parker's perspective extends beyond a single season, cut, or assertion. He's always thinking 5 steps ahead and building an empire in a landscape where most people are just trying to survive. This year, in the midst of a difficult season 15, Parker made one of the most audacious decisions of his career when Domino Creek proved to be more difficult than anticipated and his crew was under a lot of pressure. Instead of backing down, Parker expanded and took advantage of the opportunity to buy 2 neighboring claims, Gold Run and Sulphur, adding nearly 2,000 acres to his operation in one stroke. He didn't just lease the dirt. He bought the entire company behind it in a $2.5 million deal. That kind of decision requires more than just courage. It demands clarity, timing, and confidence in the ground and the people working it. It's a move that speaks volumes about Parker's faith in his team, his instincts, and his long-term objectives. When observing Parker Schnabel oversee an operation involving numerous claims, dozens of employees, and millions of dollars in equipment, it's easy to forget how young he is. He makes decisions with high stakes that would make even seasoned bosses hesitate, but he does it with the composed focus of someone who has been through the fire before, having handled everything from difficult conversations with team leaders like Mitch and Tyson to sleepless nights managing broken wash plants. Parker takes the initiative and thrives under pressure. He listens, but when it is time to take action, he takes decisive action. And when things go wrong, as they frequently do in gold mining, he takes responsibility for it, making no excuses or pointing fingers, just gritting his teeth. As the season progresses, it's impossible to predict how Parker Schnabel's big bet on Gold Run and Sulphur will turn out. But one thing is certain, he has the heart of a leader, the mind of a strategist, and the soul of a true miner, a rare combination that makes him one of the most remarkable figures in modern gold mining. Parker Schnabel has already built an empire at an age when most are still figuring out their careers. He's mined thousands of ounces of gold La Cruz through harsh seasons and made decisions that would turn most business owners, and he's just getting started.